Anti-Semitism has a deep-rooted history in the United States. Many white supremacist groups such as the Ku Klux Klan have made it their mission to make the world aware of what they believe, that the Jews control the media, the government, the banks, and all the minorities. Sometimes these white supremacists act out violently, believing that if they eliminate the Jews, they will be liberating this country from an oppressive and evil power. This is how 3 people were shot and killed in Johnson County, Kansas on April 13, 2014. On a rainy Sunday afternoon the day before Passover, Fraser Glenn Miller drove into the parking lot of the Jewish community campus in the city of Overland Park. Firing a shotgun, Miller roamed the Jewish facilities, asking people at gunpoint if they were Jewish. He then traveled about a mile south on foot to the senior living center known as Village Shalom, where he began firing a handgun at people. Overland Park police arrested him outside the Valley View Park Elementary School, about 2 blocks from Village Shalom. According to the FBI's national statistics from 2012, 62% of religious-based crime is anti-Semitic. 3 people died that day, but none of them were Jewish. Dr. William Corporone and his grandson, Reet Underwood, were the first victims Miller shot. Dr. Corporone and Reet were at the Jewish community campus for a singing competition. Terry Lamano was visiting her mother at Village Shalom when Miller killed her. Sources say that Terry begged for her life before Miller shot her. Miller's intention to victimize the Jewish people ended up victimizing other members of the Overland Park community. So who was this cold-hearted man? In the mid-1980s, Miller was a founder of 2 factions of the Ku Klux Klan. He was one of the first white supremacists in North Carolina to use paramilitary tactics. His goal? The total and complete eradication of Jews. In this 2006 interview with KMBC, Miller discusses his view of the United States and current race relations.
Well, I'm 65 years old. I have 5 children. I spent 20 years in the United States Army. I retired as a Master Sergeant. 2 tours in Vietnam, 13 years in the Green Beret Paratroopers. I'm a patriotic white man. The only thing I ain't figured out is whether to hate all you Jews or just the Zionists. That's the only thing I ain't fully figured out yet. We're going to take back our country by whatever means necessary. We're going to change it. The white people are going to wake up. We're going to run people for office. I'm running for Congress, and I want to see 50 million white men out of work. Then Whitey will fight. He won't fight until then.
Miller was motivated by his anti-Semitic mission, which he held on to throughout his arrest and the trial.
My name is Glenn Miller. I'm an anti-Semite. I hate goddamn Jews. I'm a white man, the last white man. Jews rule the goddamn country now, boy. They're wiping us out. They're committing genocide against us. White race is dying out rapidly. It's because of Jews. I thought they had better security and shit. I thought they had armed guards and everything.
The state must prove my criminal intent. I submit that I had no criminal intent. I had a patriotic intent to stop the genocide against my people. This genocide is as obvious as the words diversity, the melting pot, and changing demographics.
Miller was charged with 1 count of capital murder, 3 counts of attempted murder in the first degree, discharged a firearm in an occupied building, and aggravated assault. He was held on a $10 million bail. A few months later, the Johnson County District Attorney Steve Howe announced that he would seek the death penalty. Miller fired his defense attorney, deciding to represent himself in court. After many insulting, disrespectful, and incriminating comments and behaviors from Miller that constantly brought the trial to a screeching halt, the 74-year-old North Carolinian was found guilty by a Kansas jury of 7 men and 5 women. On November 10, 2015, Judge Thomas Kelly Ryan delivered Miller his sentence.
I find from the review of the entirety of the evidence presented in this trial that the jury's verdict should be and is affirmed. And for your conviction for capital murder, you will be transported to the Kansas Department of Corrections to carry out the sentence of death by lethal injection as provided by Kansas law.
Only 1 other person has been sentenced to death in Johnson County since Kansas reinstated capital punishment in 1994. The hate crime law of the state of Kansas is as follows. If the trier of fact makes a finding that the offender's crime was motivated entirely or in part by race, color, religion, ethnicity, national origin, or sexual orientation of the victim, whether or not the offender's belief or perception was correct, Miller's crime falls into this definition. He has a long history of bias against the Jewish people. He drove for 3 hours from his home in Aurora, Missouri, with the specific intent of harming and killing Jews. Though he did not succeed, his bias and violent motivation classifies his actions as a hate crime. According to Southern Poverty Law Center, there have been 22 separate hate crimes in the state of Kansas, one of which was the vandalism of a monument for Jewish soldiers who died in the Battle of Verdun. Miller went on this shooting rampage to send a message to all Jews in the United States. He did this to bring fear and hatred into the Jewish community to disempower them, but he failed. The Johnson County Jewish community is stronger than ever. The families of the 3 victims still mourn, but they are not crippled by their loss. In Kansas, in Missouri, in the Midwest, in the U.S., and in the world, we continue to show compassion, love, and kindness towards one another. We will not let Frazier Glenn Miller win, and we will never forget Terry Lamanno, Reed Underwood, and William Corporone. We will rebuild and we will keep on living full and healthy lives in remembrance of them.